The night on the trade planet was cold, and the sky was filled with glowing ships floating above. Most stalls in the market had already closed. Only one light was still on, coming from a small wooden stall with a steel roof. The man inside was human, tall, strong, with a tired face. His name was Joran. He sold food and drinks milk, bread, dry soup packs. He was counting the coins in a small metal box, ready to shut for the day. Then a soft knock came. It wasn't a loud knock. It was light, almost like a whisper on wood. Joran looked up. No one was there. He frowned and stepped out of his stall, looking left and right. The streets were empty. The cold wind blew dust across the metal floors. Maybe it was nothing, he thought. Then came another knock so soft it barely made a sound. Joran looked down. This time, that's when he saw her. A tiny alien girl stood there, no taller than his waist. She wore nothing but a thin, dirty cloth wrapped around her like a blanket. Her skin was light blue, almost white in the cold light. Her eyes were large and glowing faintly purple. In her shaking arms, she held a baby barely alive, wrapped in some torn fabric. The baby's eyes were closed. Her breathing was weak. The older girl looked up at him and whispered, "Please, sir, just a little milk for my sister. I'll pay you back when I'm grown." Joran didn't speak at first. His heart froze. He had seen many things in the market: thieves, liars, beggars. But this was something different. He bent down slowly. "Where are your parents?" The girl blinked, and her lips trembled. "Gone." The wind blew harder. The baby made a weak sound, not a cry, more like a whimper. The older girl hugged her tighter. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice shaking. "We just need some milk. She hasn't eaten in 2 days. I don't want her to die." Joran looked around. A few other merchants saw them from far away. One man laughed and shook his head. Another woman whispered, "She's one of them wore trash." Joran's jaw tightened. He looked back at the girl. "What's your name?" She hesitated, then whispered, "Neva, and your sister Luli." Joran stood up and went back into his stall. The girl didn't follow. She just stood there, waiting, her knees shaking from the cold. A moment later, he returned with a small bottle of warm milk. He handed it to her gently. Neva's eyes widened. Her hands reached out, but they were too cold to hold it steady. Joran knelt and helped her hold the bottle to Luli's lips. The baby sucked slowly, weakly, but she drank. Life returned, just a little, to her face. Neva gasped. A soft cry of relief breaking through her lips. "You can stay here until she's finished," Joran said, placing his cloak over Neva's shoulders. "I'll pay you back one day," she said again, quietly. "I promise. I'll grow up, and I'll work, and I'll bring you money." Joran didn't answer. He looked at her bony fingers, the way she hid behind her sister. This child had no money. No home, no one. Suddenly Neva tried to stand, but her legs gave out. She fell to her knees, still holding Luli tight. Joran caught her before she hit the ground. The baby still drank slowly, unaware of the world around her. "You can't even walk," Joran said, more to himself than to her. Neva opened her mouth to speak, but her head dropped. She had fainted. People were watching now, but no one moved. No one helped. Jore looked at them, then looked down at the girls in his arms. He had a small home at the edge of the market. Not much, but enough for 2 small aliens who had nothing. Without saying another word, he lifted both sisters gently into his arms and walked away. From behind, someone muttered, "Foolish human, you'll regret it." Joran didn't answer. His steps were heavy, but his heart had already decided. Whatever these girls had been through, whatever this galaxy had done to them, tonight, they were his responsibility, and he wasn't going to let them die in the cold. The sun had not yet risen, but the stars above the market stalls were fading. Cold wind moved through the narrow streets like a ghost. Joran's small house stood at the far corner of the market, made of thick steel walls and warm lights. Inside, silence filled the room until a small cough broke it. The alien baby, Luli, lay, wrapped in soft blankets. Her cheeks were no longer gray, and her breathing was stronger now. Next to her, on the old couch, Neva opened her eyes slowly. The blanket around her was heavy and warm, unfamiliar. The fire crackled softly in the corner. She sat up fast, confused, afraid. Where was she? Then she saw the baby safe, warm, sleeping. Before she could think more, the door opened. Joran entered, holding a bowl of hot food and 2 small spoons. He looked at her carefully. "You're awake." Neva shrank back, her eyes wide. She didn't speak. Her hands gripped the couch. Joran placed the food down on the small table. "It's just soup, made from earth roots, not poison." She didn't laugh. She didn't move. "I'm not going to hurt you," he added. "Or your sister. I only gave you a place to rest. That's all." Her voice came low and thin. "Why?" Joran didn't answer right away. He looked at the baby, then at Neva's thin arms. He remembered her words at the stall. That soft voice asking for milk, just milk, because no one else did. He finally said. Neva's eyes lowered. She had heard this before, but from people who later changed, who asked for things after giving help.
Oh.
But Joran didn't ask anything. He just handed her a spoon. "Eat. Your sister will wake soon, and she'll need more milk." Neva took the spoon slowly. She dipped it into the bowl and brought it to her mouth. The warmth made her eyes water. She hadn't eaten real food in days. Each bite felt like her body coming back to life. Luli stirred and made a soft sound. Neva rushed to her, lifting her gently. "She's better," she whispered, kissing her. "Sister's forehead, she's better because of you?" Joran placed a milk bottle beside her. "She'll need more later. I'll refill it before I leave. You're not staying?" "I have to open the stall again," he said, putting on his coat. "People need food." She looked down. "Do you want me to leave?" Joran paused. "You have anywhere to go?" She shook her head slowly. "Then you can stay," he said. "Just rest. I'll be back before dark. Lock the door from inside. Don't open for anyone but me." Neva looked at him, her voice barely a whisper. "They'll call me a thief. They'll say I broke in." Joran walked to the door, then stopped. "If they say that, tell them your name is Neva. Tell them you're under my roof now." Her lips parted, unsure how to respond. "You're not trash," he said. "Don't let them treat you like you are." Then he was gone, and the door clicked shut behind him. Outside, the market had come to life. Aliens of many kinds passed by, shouting, buying, trading. Joran set up his stall again. But today, something felt different. His mind stayed behind with the 2 girls. Across the road, a pair of alien traders laughed. "So, you took in a street rat?" one said. Joran didn't reply. "You humans," said the other, shaking his head. "Always soft for a sad story. She'll rob you blind, you'll see." Joran stared at them with cold eyes. If she wanted to steal, she would have taken the milk and ran. She didn't. She asked. The 2 aliens scoffed and walked off. Back at the house, Neva stayed near Luli all day. She cleaned the blanket, wiped the baby's face, fed her again. For the first time in weeks, Luli giggled a tiny sound that made Neva smile. It was a weak smile, but it was real. When the sky turned orange, Neva heard footsteps again. She rushed to the door. "Who is it?" came Joran's voice. She unlocked the door and he stepped inside with a small bag of supplies, more milk, more food, a tiny stuffed toy. "Something for Luli," he said. Placing the toy near the baby, Neva picked it up like it was treasure. Her eyes filled with water. "Why are you doing this for us?" Joran sat down, tired. "Because someone should." She looked at the floor, her voice shaking. "I'll repay you one day. I swear I will." He nodded, not needing promises. But in her heart, Neva meant every word. She didn't want to be weak forever. One day she would grow. One day she would protect her sister like no one else could. One day she would repay the human who was the first to see her as something more than a beggar. She just needed time. The fire was warm, the room quiet, and her baby sister safe, but Neva still couldn't stop shaking. Her thin fingers gripped the edges of the blanket, knuckles white. Even wrapped in warmth, sitting beside Joran's quiet fire, her small body trembled with fear, not from the cold, but from memories that refused to leave her. It had been 3 nights now since the human had taken them in. Joran was kind, brought food, milk, and even soft clothing stitched from old fabric. He never raised his voice. He never came close without warning. Still, Neva flinched whenever the door creaked. She jumped when shadows moved across the wall. Joran noticed. He said nothing, but he saw. That night, after dinner, Neva sat near the window holding Luli. Her sister was fast asleep in her arms, tiny chest rising gently. Joran was fixing a broken lantern at the table when he heard her voice. "Why? Didn't you lock the door tonight?" He looked up. "It's late. No one comes around this time." Her eyes didn't move from the door. That's when they always came, late when it was dark, when no one watched. Joran's hand froze. "On the last planet," she whispered, her voice flat like stone, "the shelter leader said we had to earn food. I didn't understand at first. But then he started asking bad things." She looked at Joran, but not into his eyes. Her own eyes were staring into something far away, something cold and ugly. "I said no. So he stopped feeding us. He said he'd take Luli if I didn't obey." Joran stood slowly, heart burning with anger he couldn't show. "What did you do?" he asked gently. "I ran," she said. "Stole a bag of milk and bread and ran until my feet bled. I hid in trash piles. Some nights, I thought I'd freeze. But Luli smiled at me in her sleep and I kept going." Tears slipped down her cheeks, but her face stayed still, her voice even. "I only asked you for milk, but you gave me more. I keep thinking, you'll ask me too. Everyone does, so why not you?" Joran knelt beside her, not too close. "I'm not like them, Neva. I don't want anything from you." She turned her head slowly, confused. "Then, why are you kind?" "Because I had a sister once," he said. "She died when I was a boy. Starved during the Titan riots. I was too small to save her. I promised that if I ever saw someone like her again, I'd never walk away." Neva said nothing. She only stared at him, as if his words were strange, like music she didn't understand. "Here," he added, reaching carefully into his coat. This belonged to her. He held out a small leather charm worn, stitched with faded symbols. "It's called a keeper, something to remind you that you're not alone." Neva took it slowly. Her fingers touched the soft leather. It was warm. For some reason, that warmth made her cry harder than she had in weeks. She pressed the charm to her chest and sobbed silently, body shaking, breath broken. Joren didn't touch her. He didn't move. He let her cry, let her break. When the tears stopped and the fire burned low, she whispered, "Can I stay?" "You already are," he said. "I mean longer. I want to help you. Work clean, learn, be useful. You don't have to earn your place," he said. But she shook her head. "I want to. I don't want to feel like a guest anymore. I want to be strong." Joran nodded slowly. "Then we'll start tomorrow. I'll teach you to use the food packs. It's clean. Gear. To read trade signs." Neva looked up, wiping her face with her sleeve. For the first time, a spark of hope lit her eyes. "I'll learn fast," she promised. "I want Luli to grow up in a place where no one touches her, where no one calls her trash. I want to build that place with my own hands." "You will," Joran said, "and I'll help." That night, as the fire faded and sleep took them, the house felt different. Not like a shelter,
Not like a hiding place.
but like the beginning of a home. And though her body still trembled now and then, it wasn't fear anymore. It was the start of something new. A quiet strength was waking inside her, and it would only grow. It was a quiet morning, too quiet. Neva stood at the window, gently rocking Luli in her arms. The baby was smiling now, stronger each day. The fire was warm, and a pot of soup boiled softly on the stove. Joran had gone to the market early, leaving behind clear instructions: stay inside, door locked, and don't open it for anyone. Neva had nodded. She felt safe.
Out.
She trusted him. Until she saw the uniforms, two figures moved across the outer road, tall, silver-coated patrolmen. Their faces were hidden behind black visors. The symbol on their shoulder was sharp and cruel, a blade, wrapped in fire. Her breath caught in her throat. She stepped back quickly, her arms tightening around Luli. She had seen those uniforms before on the last colony, on the ships that collected unregistered miners like garbage. They never came for good reasons. A knock echoed at the door. Heavy, final. She froze. Another knock. Then a voice. "This is Sector Patrol. We've received reports of alien miners inside this residence." The door. Neva's legs moved on their own. She turned, ran to the bedroom, placed Luli gently in the closet behind some blankets. "Stay quiet," she whispered, kissing her sister's forehead. Then she grabbed the wooden chair and wedged it under the door handle. Her hands were shaking. Now. Her body remembered too much, grabbing Luli and running, hiding under trash bins. The cries of other children being taken. Not again. Another bang on the door. Harder this time. "You have 10 seconds to comply. If you resist, we enter by force." Tears filled her eyes, but she pushed them down. She looked around the room for something to block the window. Anything but, there was nothing. She backed into a corner, holding a kitchen knife. She wasn't going to run this time then. Just as they were about to break in, the door opened. Joren stood there, calm and unbothered, wiping his hands on a cloth. "Morning," said. The two officers stared at him. "We received a complaint about undocumented alien children in this structure," the taller one said. "Step aside." Joren raised an eyebrow. "You have a name for that complaint?" "A code. Code 147B, Foundling Control." "Then where's the warrant?" The shorter officer held up a small screen. "Here." Joren scanned it quickly. It didn't blink. "I don't see a name on that. This is my home. I'm Joren Vell. Those children are registered under my care. They're not human." "No, but neither are you," he said sharply. The officers looked at each other. "Will need to see the documentation." Joren stepped back inside, leaving the door open. "Stay outside," he said firmly. They waited, tied. Neva had pressed herself into a corner, her grip on the knife tight. She heard voices. They were talking. She didn't understand everything, but she heard her name. Then footsteps, coming closer. She raised the knife. But it wasn't a patrolman. It was Jore. He held his hands up slowly. "Easy," he said. "They're not coming inside." Neva didn't move. He stepped closer. "I gave them your names, your registration IDs, and a full background file. I spent the last 2 nights building it. You knew they would come," she asked. "I've lived on border worlds long enough," he said. "They always come." She dropped the knife. Her knees gave out. Joren caught her before she hit the ground. "They're leaving now," he said softly. "You're safe." Outside, the patrolman looked annoyed, but they walked away. Joren watched them until their hoverbike disappeared beyond the hill. Then he closed the door and locked it tight. Neva sat on the floor, holding Luli again, her eyes wide. I thought they'd take her," she whispered. "I would have died before I let them." "I know," Joren said. He sat beside her. "They don't care about your story, only about your blood. If they find out what your sister really is, they know what's inside her. They won't stop." Neva looked up, alarmed. "What do you mean?" "She has something rare. I ran a scan when you both first arrived. Her DNA carries medical markers, things humans have never seen before. That's why she survived the cold. That's why they'll come again." Neva's breath shook. "So what do we do?" Joren stood slowly. "We prepare. We hide better. And when the time is right, we leave this place for good." "Where will we go?" "Somewhere quiet," he said. "Somewhere they won't find us." Neva looked at her sleeping sister. "I'll protect her," she said again. Joren nodded. "I'll protect you both." The house felt different now. It wasn't just warm, it was a fortress. Not made of steel and doors, but of promises. The days passed like soft whispers in the wind. Neva swept the floor gently as the sun's light came through the windows, filling the small house with gold. The smell of soup floated through the air. Luli lay nearby, wrapped in soft blankets, her little fingers grabbing a wooden toy Joran had carved for her. She giggled now. She rolled over and tried to crawl. Her laughter had become the sound that filled every corner of the home. Neva moved quietly, carefully. She had learned how to make soup, how to clean the tools, how to organize the supplies. At the food stall, Joran taught her step by step. He spoke gently, never rushed her. He corrected her with patience, not anger. She had never known teaching like that. Every lesson made her feel less like a burden and more like a person. Still, something inside her stayed locked, something heavy and silent. That morning, she sat across from Joran at the wooden table. He passed her a datapad filled with letters and numbers. Oh, she was learning to read. "You've memorized all the food labels," Joran said with a smile. "You're faster than I was at your age." She looked down, hiding her face behind the datapad. She didn't know how to respond to praise. It made her chest feel tight, like it wasn't meant for her. "Tomorrow," he continued, "you'll help me at the stall. We'll start with counting coins." She nodded, still staring at the datapad. Then her voice came low and uncertain. "Why?" He blinked. "Why what?" "Why are you so kind to me?" she whispered. Joren leaned back slowly, surprised. "I thought I answered that already." "Really?" she said, looking up now. "Everyone else, when they gave me something, they always wanted something back. I was never safe. But you keep helping me, and I don't understand why." Joran placed the datapad aside. He looked at her carefully, seriously. "When I was a boy," he said, "I was poor too. My father died in a mining collapse. My mother tried to raise me and my sister alone. But the war came. We ran, we begged, and every door closed." Neva listened closely. "Then," he said, "one man took us in. Stranger. He gave us a place to sleep, food to eat. He asked for nothing in return. I never forgot him." She tilted her head. "So you're doing the same?" "Yes," he said. "But not just because of him, because I saw you in the cold. You weren't just begging, you were protecting someone. Most children your age don't even know how to care for themselves. But you were trying to save your sister." Neva lowered her eyes. "She's all I have," she whispered. Joren leaned forward. "You're not alone anymore. You have me now." She looked up again, eyes glassy, voice breaking. "I want to believe you. I do, but I'm scared that one day you'll change, that one day I'll do something wrong, and you'll throw us out. Or worse." Joran's face stayed calm. "You'll make mistakes," he said. "It's part of growing. I'll help you fix them. I won't change into someone cruel. But I'm not even human." "You're alive," he said. "That's what matters." Her lips trembled. "Do you see me as a daughter?" His answer came without pause. "I see you as family." Neva stood up quickly, walking away from the table. Her hands were shaking again. He waited. After a long silence, she spoke from the corner of the room. "No one's ever said that to me. I mean it," Joran said. Every word. She turned slowly. Her face was wet with tears, but her eyes were clear. "I don't want to be afraid anymore." "You don't have to," he said. "Not here." She nodded, and for the first time, her shoulders relaxed. Later that night, after Luli had fallen asleep, Neva sat near the fire and stared at the little charm Joran had given her. She turned it over in her hands again and again. She thought of everything: the cold stall, the milk, the kindness, the safety. Then she whispered to herself, "I'll protect him too, no matter what comes." That promise settled deep in her heart, quiet but strong, and without knowing it, the broken girl had started to become something new, someone stronger, someone loved. The air turned sharp that morning. The sky above the trade colony was dark with strange clouds. A low hum echoed across the metal buildings. Neva stood at Joran's stall, carefully arranging food packs, while Joran explained how to sort credits and count coin stacks. Luli was wrapped in soft cloth, tucked safely in the carrier across Neva's back, her tiny hands reaching up to play with Neva's hair. Everything felt normal until the wind stopped. A sudden silence swept across the market, and everyone turned. Look. 3 black ships hovered down from the sky, sleek, official, and marked with glowing golden emblems. The symbol wasn't patrol. It was something worse. Medical Retrieval Division. JORE and froze. Neva's breath caught. The lead ship opened with a hiss. Tall figures in white suits stepped out, faces hidden behind smooth helmets. One of them carried a scanner, glowing red. They moved with purpose, not a word spoken. The crowd backed away, making space, whispering in fear. Joran grabbed Neva's arm. Go home now. Neva didn't move. What's happening? They're here for someone? I don't know how, but they tracked her. Neva reached for Luli, holding her tight. They can't take her, she whispered. She's mine. Looked around. Run. I'll stall them. But it was too late. The white suits turned toward them. One pointed directly at Luli. The scanner beeped. This child carries unstable genetic material, the leader said through a voice modulator. She must be taken into custody for analysis. No, Joran said firmly. This child is registered under private guardianship. Registration is irrelevant, the man replied. Her biology falls under medical emergency protocol. She is no longer under civilian law. Neva stepped in front of them. You can't have her, she said, voice shaking. Shh. She's my sister. The lead figure ignored her. He motioned to the others. 2 officers stepped forward to take the baby. Neva stepped back fast. Holding Luli tighter. I said no, she screamed. She must be surrendered, they repeated. Neva's heart pounded so loud she could barely hear her own voice. If you take her, I'll die first, she shouted. I'll fight you with everything I have. One officer reached toward her. JOREN moved to block, but Neva suddenly began to glow. A pulse of energy burst from her chest, like a wave of heat. The officer staggered back. The scanner cracked in his hand. The others froze. Everyone in the market went silent. Neva stood there, body trembling, her skin glowing faintly blue and gold. Her hair lifted in the static air, and her eyes, once soft and scared, now burned with fire. I'm not just a child anymore, she said. I will never let her go. The white suits hesitated. One of them scanned again, more carefully this time. She's waking, he whispered. It's her. The signal is real. Joran stepped beside Neva. You have no right to take either of them. The lead figure looked at Neva, then at the child. She may be dangerous. The sister too. Their energy signature is unstable. They're alive, Joran snapped, and that's what matters. The white suits backed away slowly. They weren't prepared for resistance. Not from a child. Not from a human traitor. We'll return with a stronger team, the leader said. This is not over. Neva stared him down. You can come with armies. I'll still protect her. They turned and boarded the ships again. In seconds. The sky was empty. The market stayed quiet long after they were gone. People stared at Neva, not in pity this time, but in awe. She looked down at Luli, still glowing faintly in her arms. Joran placed a hand on her shoulder. You didn't just protect her, you awakened something. I felt it, she whispered. Something inside me. Something strong. Joran nodded. It's rare, hidden in her blood, and now yours. Neva sat down slowly, her arms still around her sister. I thought I was small, she said. I thought I was weak. But now I know I'm not alone, not helpless. You were never helpless, Joran said. You just never had someone to remind you. Neva looked up at him, a fire still burning in her eyes. They'll come. Again. Yes, he said. And we'll be ready. The wind returned, but it no longer felt cold. Something had changed. The girl who once begged for milk was gone. In her place stood a protector willing to fight, willing to burn, willing to face the galaxy for the one she loved most. The ship rumbled softly as it rose into the stars. Inside the cargo cabin, Neva sat by the window, holding Luli close against her chest. The baby girl, stronger than ever, giggled at the strange colors outside. the endless blue glow of space, the stars dancing past, the slow heartbeat of a new beginning. Joran stood near the entrance, his hand on the control panel, eyes scanning the navigation screen. His old stall, his quiet home, his old life, they were gone now. He had packed what little he owned, loaded up the small freighter, left everything behind. He hadn't hesitated, because he wasn't leaving behind anything that mattered. Everything that mattered was right here in this ship. Neva looked over her shoulder, her voice soft. "Where are we going again?" "Outer Sector 9, Joran replied. "It's quiet, far from patrol routes. It's no scanners, no checkpoints, no officials with machines that beep. Is it safe?" He nodded. "Safer than anywhere else in the galaxy. It's a place where people go to disappear or to start over." She stared out the window again. "I never thought we'd leave that planet," she said. "Even when I dreamed of escape, I didn't think it would really happen." "You didn't just escape," Joran said. "You made a choice. You stood your ground. You found your power." Neva touched the side of her arm. The glow from the market day had faded, but something inside her still shimmered. It wasn't magic. It wasn't something special in her blood. It was the will to protect. It was love that refused to be broken. "What if they find us again?" she asked. Joren stepped closer. "Then we'll face them together. But this time, we'll be ready." Luli reached up, grabbing Neva's chin with her little hand, giggling again. Neva kissed her gently and smiled, a soft, real smile that had taken so long to learn. "Do you think she'll remember any of this?" Neva asked. "No," Joran said, "and that's a good thing. She'll grow up free. Safe. She'll grow up knowing love, not hunger, not fear." Neva looked up at him carefully. "You gave us that?" "You gave it to yourself," Joran said. "I just opened the door." She stood up slowly, still holding Luli, and walked over to him. "I've been thinking," she said. "I want to learn more about space, about ships, about trade routes. I want to help you. You already do." "No," she said firmly. "I don't want to just survive anymore. I want to build something, a future, a home that no one can take from us." Joran smiled. "Then you'll be captain one day." "I'll be more than that," Neva whispered. "I'll be someone Luli can look up to, someone she'll run to, not run from." He nodded. "And I'll be there with you both. Every step." They stood in silence, watching the stars roll by. The ship passed through a quiet nebula, its silver, wings glowing against the dust. Inside, warmth filled every corner of the cabin. There were no guards, no scanners, no locked doors, only a human, an alien girl. And her baby sister's 3 broken lives stitched together by choice, not by blood. Later, that night, Neva tucked Luli into a small bunk built just for her. The baby yawned, rolled over, and fell asleep instantly. Neva sat beside her for a while, hand resting on her tiny back, listening to her breathe. Then she returned to the main cabin and found Joran fixing a loose panel on the wall. She sat beside him and pulled out the leather charm he had given her. Weeks ago, it still held warmth, still carried the promise. She tied it around her wrist. "I think I know how to repay you now," she said. He looked at her. "You don't owe me anything." She smiled again, wider this time. "But I still want to." He leaned back, watching her with pride. "How? By never giving up," she said. "By becoming someone strong, someone kind, the way you are." Nodded. "Then you've already paid me back." The stars outside glowed brighter now. Their journey had no set destination. But for the first time, Neva wasn't afraid. She wasn't the scared girl begging for milk. She wasn't the silent girl hiding behind walls. She was a sister, a fighter, a spark of something greater, and above, she was no longer alone.